Hey all, welcome to ShareTreck. This is Raj here. Friends, I'm going to talk to you about FDA today. We generally don't look at FDA unless it comes to the PDUFA date or an approval date or looking for clinical trial data. But I think we have to pay close attention as investors because the gene therapy startup companies could have a kind of risk because of what's happening with the FDA's appropriation budget. So I'm going to talk about that today. I'll give you some numbers. I'll give you the ways in which gene therapy companies could be affected. So let's get started. Welcome back, friends. A House subcommittee recently advanced the FDA's appropriation bill for fiscal year 2025, marking the start of Congress's process for funding the agency in the coming year. Here's a breakdown of the key points. The total budget comprises of total amount of $6.75 billion, which is the same amount it received in the prior fiscal year. This figure is less than the $7.2 billion that the Biden administration had requested. So if you look at the difference between 6.75 and 7.2, it's not that big. Some amount of efficiencies can be found probably in the FDA operations so that they can continue to provide the same service level, assuming the same demand. But I think that there is going to be more demand for cell and gene therapy approvals. So FDA would be a bit stretched. We'll have to see how they handle it. Now, let us talk about the funding process, which is where the main risk is. Last year, legislators struggled to pass appropriation packages. We used to see it on the TV on a regular basis. They nearly caused a government shutdown. We are watching that in the market also. The FDA appropriations bill still needs to be reviewed by the full House Committee on Appropriations next month before it can move to the House floor for a vote. Stephen Grossman, Executive Director for the Alliance for a Stronger FDA, suggests that the appropriations process may extend until December and possibly even into early next year, depending on the election outcomes, budget allocations, etc. Now, if you look at the breakup, the FDA has a significant portion of the budget which comes from user fees paid by product sponsors. These fees help fund reviews. For example, 1.5 billion is for the PDUFA or not PDUFA, a prescription drug user fee program. And 626 million is for the generic drug user fee program. 370 million is for medical device user fee program. 32 million is for biosimilar user fees. And the FDA's drug center is allocated 2.4 billion. Notably, 10 million of this is earmarked for pilot programs to conduct more unannounced foreign inspection of drug manufacturers because drug manufacturing is outsourced to other countries. And there are times when FDA has prevented some of these manufacturing facilities from continuing their production until they fix identified defects and shortcomings. So it's a very important function to ensure that generic drugs that come into the country or outsourced drugs that are manufactured abroad and come into the country are of good quality. And then the FDA's Biologics Center is allocated around 577 million for its operations, which includes inspections and investigations. So overall, in my opinion, the FDA's appropriation bill for fiscal year 2025 will have significant impacts for the startup gene therapy companies. This is because cell and gene therapy is ramping up and the FDA is gearing up to avoid bottlenecks. They are already learning very fast and they are becoming better and better with approving gene therapies. We also had significant inflation, and that means same allocation as last year could actually mean budget decrease in real terms. And that's not a good thing as far as the FDA is concerned because their salaries are also going up. The cost of materials that they use is also going up. So we have to take those things into account. So overall, I would conclude by saying that for startup gene therapy companies which have got a cash runway, which we keep on looking at, and potential equity dilution if they run out of the cash runway, it's very, very important that they have optimum clinical trial cycle, which means that they need to have discussions with FDA, and FDA needs to have the bandwidth to guide them on how to structure their clinical trial and give them some feedback, and also coach them on how the clinical trial process works. And then the startup companies will need to do everything as per the book and submit the data and information to FDA and look for the gating process to go in the normal sequence. So if we assume same load as the previous year, and the budget being slightly less, then it's a little bit of a stretch for FDA, but they should be able to find economies of scale internally. But my thought process says that we are going to have more startup companies, we are going to have more cell and gene therapy being submitted to FDA for approval. So the FDA's capability to handle all of them in a timely manner and give timely approvals is going to be under a whole lot of strain. So that's the worry. And the second worry is that on the mainstream media and other places, when we look at speeches by politicians, there's a group of politicians who are anti-vax and who are anti-FDA, who are anti-Dr. Fauci. All those sentiments are out there. So the outcome of the election is going to be very, very important. If the outcome of the election is the win for an existing party who is already ruling, then probably FDA will do okay. But if the current Democratic Party loses, then the FDA's existence itself is going to be in trouble, because first of all, they have to get the funding. So the funding can be cut in a way that the functioning of FDA is not meaningful. So right now, the United States has a lead because FDA has the most structured process and it's the gold standard. And all therapies come here to FDA for approval so that they can be sold in the US, which is a big market. And that helps the Americans to get the latest drugs, latest medicine, and also participate in the latest clinical trials to get cutting edge medicine. Now, if the FDA did not have sufficient budget and it could not deliver on a timely basis, then European Medical Agency or Australian medical agencies, those are the ones that would probably take the lead. And that could mean that most of the research and development, other activities that are being done by American companies here would probably move, and the startup ecosystem could probably move to Europe. So those possibilities are also there. And that could affect how many new gene therapy companies come into the NASDAQ. Maybe you may find more of them in the European stock exchanges. So these are the things that I am thinking about, my friends. I would like you to let me know what you think about this. Please put your comments and please put your thoughts in the comment section. And I really love to read your comments. And also, please make sure that you press the like and subscribe button to help the channel. We want to touch 20,000. Hope we get there. Thanks and have a great day. Bye for now.